This guy is 29 and his girlfriend is also 29. And he says, I told my girlfriend that she's been forgetting things and she had a meltdown. We've been dating for 1.5 years. She's the love of my life. But this morning, I mentioned that I've noticed she's been forgetting conversations we've had, double ordering things off Amazon, forgetting little things I'll ask her to pick up or get from even a room away, and in general, feeling a little checked out at home. I brought this up to her attention very delicately and thoughtfully, and she got extremely defensive, started crying, and it's looking like the rest of the day is shot. Is there a better way I can go about bringing this to her attention? I'm sort of a direct person and she's sensitive, so it's been a learning curve. I want her to be aware of these things so we can better ourselves. Well, I will first say that, how do I say this? Women that are highly sensitive, and there are a lot of women that are highly sensitive, right? Part of the reason that they stay so sensitive is because the world at large is willing to coddle them. Like they have their parents that coddle them. Anytime they have a hissy fit or get mad at something, the world is going to them and saying, oh, what you're thinking and feeling is totally fine. And we're going to cater to you. And every thought you have is totally understandable and reasonable and all this stuff, right? And so what I've learned in my dating journey is that when you meet these kind of women, if you are a guy that is direct with them in a nice way, in a way that is not meant to be harmful, but you're being very direct, initially, those women are going to take those things super sensitively and probably want to fight you. Or they're going to fight you, or they're going to feel butthurt. They're going to think that you're doing this because you don't care. And it's because they haven't been around somebody that was able to be direct, where they were able to develop a wall of some kind that allows them to not take the directness so personally. And this is especially true in a lot of households where maybe the mom grew up under either a single mom or grew up with a dad that was beholden to the mom to where she ran the household. Basically, I have found that when men aren't running the household, women grow up in those environments where their sensitivity is coddled, and then they don't ever learn to not take things so sensitively. Now, I will say those kind of women can be very hard to date and deal with. And you have to be, if you're going to date that kind of woman, you have to be willing as a guy to know that there's going to be times that you're direct and she's going to throw a hissy fit. But the thing is, she has not been in the habit of being around somebody that has been direct and tactful but kind. And so that is a feeling tone that she's going to have to get used to. Now, if you are a guy that is willing to sit through that, then the outcome benefit is she'll eventually learn that when you're being direct, it's not personal, it's not meant to hurt her feelings, it's actually meant to help her. But that can be a long journey. And I've dated women like this where, early on, I would say things like, I need my alone time, or, hey, that thing you did bothered me. And they would be mad and upset and cry about it. And it took about 6 months, 10 months or so before those particular women were able to be like, okay, this is just who Harry is. And I know he loves me at this point because I spent time with him. So he's not saying this to be mean. It's something I need to hear. And him being direct is being loving, because to not be direct would delay solving whatever problem I have. And it would prolong whatever's going on with me. Right. But again, so you hope a woman's going to get to that point. That doesn't mean that they always will. So when these kind of things happen, what you don't want to do is you say a thing directly. Like in this case, you said that, hey, you noticed that she was forgetting things, right? And she throws a hissy fit. Rather than back away, this is the case where you need to actually double down. You go back to her and say, hey, you know what? I know we had the combo the other day where I brought up your memory being hazy. And, I didn't mean anything by that. I'm just the guy that observes things. And because I care about you, I wanted to bring this to your attention in case we need to check to see if something's wrong. So you can be mad or hurt all day, but I still think that something's going on. And you being mad about it is not going to take away from that being a thing if something's actually going on with you. Now, on a personal note, a couple of years ago, my mom was in the hospital because she had a seizure. Now, we'll backtrack. Early on in her youth, like in her teenage years, she had gotten a concussion. And at the time, they thought it was handled, but it never fully got fixed. And so during the course of her lifetime, there were things that she noticed were odd. Like she used to watch us play Nintendo. We'd be playing Mario Kart on the screen, and she would get dizzy anytime she watched like us moving on the screen. Same thing with like, she could rarely be a passenger in a car because she would always get really, really dizzy. Well, she had a late seizure in her late 60s. And so she ended up going to the hospital and they said she was fine. So then she got back out. And then for like the next day or two, she was making like random phone calls to family members and just saying like weird stuff, or she would like start a story and then it wouldn't finish it up. And then it accumulated in like, she was at her house one day and her sisters were trying to call her, and I can't be too personal because some stuff went down where she had to go back to the hospital. And that's when they were able to find out, oh, this concussion you had like a long time ago, it never fully got fixed. So we're going to put you on some stuff that'll fix that. And then she got on it and it was fixed. Now imagine if when we went to her and said, hey, mom, you're acting kind of funny or weird because whatever, she was like, oh, how could you say that? I'm still normal. What the? She would have never got diagnosed and figured out, oh, this is actually a long-standing problem that we can now fix, you know? And so I say this because, you know, there are women that are going to be sensitive to various things. You try to tell them, hey, you're overweight, or hey, your memory's kind of fading, or something's going on, and they're going to take it personally. But you as a guy can't let that deter you from being direct with women if you feel as though it's in their best interest to be direct. Because if she's getting mad about this now, imagine if, like, let's say down the road, she does, for example, gain weight, and then she starts, like, you know, getting cramps in her leg, and you're trying to be like, hey, you're getting cramps in your leg. I don't want, what? And then it turns out to be like a cancerous lump. Like, you can't let women's emotions about things deter you as the guy from saying things if it's at her best benefit. Now, if she continues to try to fight you on that kind of stuff or gets butthurt about it, that's her journey. You can decide if you want to be part of that journey or not. I find it tends to be very, very stressful trying to get a woman to a point where she won't be so sensitive about things. And so if that's you and you don't want to deal with it, you have the right to say, hey, I've been trying to be cool, but I'm trying to tell you about things. You seem to be hurt by it. I don't know what's in your past that's making you be hurt by these things, or if that's how you were growing up, but I don't really like this. So unless we're able to fix that, then you can continue on and I'm going to head out elsewhere. Because in the long run, dealing with women that are overly sensitive is going to be a drain on your emotions, and I don't want that for you. So just some food for thought about that situation.